Welcome to the first small group session of 2017. This month we'll be looking at some of the characteristics of the triune God and how, through faith, we can have a better understanding of the one who is holy and perfect. The descriptions of the divine characteristics bring to expression the perfection and absoluteness of God. With our human language, words can never do justice to the reality of God. Even if we experience God's glory in person, we still would not be able to completely grasp it. We can look at Moses and how he experienced something similar. In Exodus 32, Moses became angry with the Israelites because they started to worship the golden calf while he was on Mount Sinai. Out of the frustration and disappointment, he smashed the stone tablets that contained the Ten Commandments. Soon after that, God instructed the Israelites to resume their journey to the Promised Land. But Moses was reluctant to move forward without reassurance that God's favor was still upon them. As evidence, Moses asked God to show him his glory. God said to Moses, "You cannot see my face, for no man shall see me and live. Here is a place by me, and you shall stand on the rock. So it shall be, while my glory passes by, that I will put you in the cleft of the rock, and will cover you with my hand while I pass by. Then I will take away my hand, and you shall see my back, but my face shall not be seen." God's words give Moses and us a glimpse of his greatness. God kept his face turned from Moses, but not as a slight, but as an act of love. As God said, no one can see his face and live. This is because he is truly perfect and holy, and man, who is unworthy, weak, and sin-filled, could not bear his full glory. We will only be able to experience God's full glory in the future, when we have become the new creation. For now, we are encouraged by Paul in 2 Corinthians to walk by faith, not by sight. We can be glad in our knowledge that we will know God fully in another time, and that right now, we can revel in the depth of what we do not know and can still learn. So is there a way for us to experience God's glory today? Of course. God's glory is revealed to us by Jesus Christ. Christ is the perfect example of the greatness of God. One aspect of God's glory is his giving of the law. Just as he gave Moses the Ten Commandments, he gave us the two greatest commandments through his Son, to love God with all our heart, soul, and mind, and to love one another as Jesus has loved us. Through the laws, God aims not to suppress us, but to preserve us from evil. We also experience God's glory through his love, which was proven through the fulfillment of his promise to send his Son as the Redeemer of the world. God's faithfulness to us is also a sign of his glory. Our failures do not change the fact that he wants to save us. God's unchanging nature gives way to his perfect character. Because he is perfect, he is always true. His word is reliable, and he is true to his promises. Everything that occurs in him, emanates from him, and is created by him is perfect and good. This is demonstrated by the fact that there's no difference between his will and his actions, his intentions and their execution. You might be thinking, how is this true? I am one of God's creations and I am not perfect. An aspect of God's perfection is his inability to fail. This means that when he created us, he did not fail by allowing his perfect creation to fall into sin. Instead, he created a path for us that would allow us to share in his perfection once again. We experience perfection in Jesus Christ. He is perfect in speech and conduct, and he is our example as we transform our nature in preparation for his return. We are not on earth right now to just wait until we dwell with God and can be perfect again. Transforming our nature requires work and effort on our part to strive for holiness, which is another characteristic of God. We are called to holiness by the Lord in Leviticus 19, when he told Moses to tell the Israelites, "You shall be holy, For I, the Lord your God, am holy. God's holiness is both a gift and a duty for us. If we strive for holiness, which comes from God, then what makes up His holiness? God's holiness applies to His being, His nature, and His rule, and they are all majestic, untouchable, and separate from the profane. Think of what this means. The Holy One is not devoted to the secular or the impure. He only has sacred and holy purposes. We are called to the same purposes. What earthly things and purposes are you devoted to? What is keeping you from trading them for holy purposes? As Christians, we decide to live for God. We want to experience His full glory. We yearn to be filled with holy purpose, and we wait for the time when perfection will again reign in all creation. Some days the decision to live for God is easy to make. Other days it is not. Moses, when upset and disappointed in the Israelites' worship of the golden calf, begged God to be present to them and show His glory, and God responded. Let us remember that God is with us through all of our struggles and invites us to be close to Him.